Right, Sarah, let's have a look at your maths then. Yeah. So what 3 topics have you got?
I've chosen addition and subtraction to support arithmetic fluency, division, and then percentages.
Okay, well let's go for the addition and subtraction one. I want to focus in particular on subtraction if we could.
Yep.
Could you give me some idea of how you see the methods being different that you would expect children in Key Stage 1 to use compared with Key Stage 2 perhaps?
I would say that Key Stage 1 pupils would see subtraction as finding the difference, and would solve that out by using an empty number line, and would solve the problem by counting on.
Can you perhaps give us an example on the whiteboard that we've provided?
So if we have 177, so 177 take away 89. So I would show them to put the biggest number at the far end of the number line. So we have 177 at the far end, and then we will begin with the smaller number, which would be 89. And then we'll go to the nearest 10, so they need to have that knowledge of place value and their knowledge of number facts, so where is 9 in relation to the nearest 10.
Okay.
So you would add 1 on, and that would be to the nearest 10, which would be 90. And then you would add on 10s in order to get to 77. So we've got to 90, we've got to 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, but then we've got a little way to go. So then we'd perhaps add 5, but this depends on the ability of the children. Can they add 5 onto a number?
Okay.
Perhaps not, then you would add it either 2s and then a 1, or you could add the 5 and the 2, but it all depends on that.
That's interesting. What's the example that you've taken there to show that there are so many different jumps that a child might need to engage with to work out the difference. How would you expect a more able pupil to deal with that?
I would ask them to do bigger leaps, so leaps of perhaps 50 if possible, or 20, so that they're adding bigger numbers on in their heads.
Okay, so alright, so that's an example that you've taken there of 177 subtract 89. How might you expect a Key Stage 2 child to respond to that as a question?
I'd look at standard vertical algorithms.
Okay.
So if I take the same problem, 89,
yeah.
They could either I would expect them to work it out by using decomposition or an equal addition, so borrowing and payback.
Okay. So don't worry about showing me that. I'm sure that you can do that for yourself. So you're thinking in terms of decomposition. What is it in your wider reading that? What has your wider reading told you that we need to get children to think about them when they're doing subtraction questions?
Ian Thompson suggests that children should be flexible in thinking of their methods, so selecting the appropriate method of subtraction or addition, for example. And then there's other authors suggest that it can many problems can be worked out mentally using our knowledge of number facts. So it's suggesting that children should have that knowledge of place value and the number facts in order to help them work out problems. So knowledge of where certain numbers are in relation to the nearest 10, and then obviously use it to make like number bonds of what, say 7 and 3. Well, I've got 7, I need 3 to get to that nearest 10.
So does that all link to your thinking about what arithmetic fluency is about then?
Yeah, because it builds on our counting skills, and which is an early method, and this will begin to increase and develop the arithmetic fluency. And then obviously this can also be contextualised in a number of situations, for example, like the reading and composition of music or scientific inquiry, or particularly historical dates, so working out how long ago something happened. And then it underpins and supports learning of like multiplication, which can be seen as repeated addition, or division, which is seen as repeated subtraction.
Okay, so just as we come towards the end of this now then, you've thought about subtraction, you've talked a little bit about arithmetic fluency. Can you just pop for me please what you understand arithmetic fluency to be about. I mean, you've mentioned some quite important writers there, but what is it in the end for you then?
For me, it's being able to apply our knowledge of the number of facts and our knowledge of different methods of addition and subtraction in order to solve problems perhaps in daily life or problems in the academic area.
Okay, and if you think about the range of methods that children use, what is fundamental to the methods that they might apply then for subtraction? You've talked about
it's important to select the appropriate method,
right.
And obviously if they have the knowledge of so many areas in order to solve addition and subtraction problems, then that will obviously enable them to find it easier if they find to solve that problem if they select the appropriate method.
Okay, so I like that word, appropriateness.
I think appropriateness is a big term in order to which needs to be taught to the children.
Okay, and that might embrace mental methods
or
written methods.
methods.
Thank you very much, Sarah.